My dear brothers and sisters, or every single morning is a gift, a fresh opportunity, a clean page. Yet many people wake up already tired, already stressed, already defeated before the day has even begun. Why? Because the mind was never trained to start the day correctly. Morning mind training that actually works is not complicated, expensive, or extreme. It is simple, intentional, and consistent. And the first thing to understand is this: your mind wakes up before your body does. If the first thing you feed it is worry, noise, or negativity, then do not be surprised when the rest of your day feels heavy. So what should we do? Start with silence before stimulation, before the phone, before the messages, before the news. Pause. Breathe. Allow your mind to settle. This moment of stillness trains the brain to respond rather than react. Okay, next, set an intention. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? Not what you want to achieve, but who you want to become. Patient, focused, kind, disciplined. When intention is clear, actions follow naturally. Then comes gratitude. A trained mind begins with appreciation, not complaint. When you consciously acknowledge what you have, the mind shifts from lack to abundance. This alone reduces anxiety and increases clarity. After that, feed the mind with meaning. A few minutes of reflection, learning, or reading something beneficial strengthens the intellect. Just as the body needs healthy food, the mind needs healthy input, especially in the morning. Finally, move with purpose. Whether it is a walk, light exercise, or simply stretching movement, tells the brain, we are ready. A moving body supports a focused mind. You see, morning mind training is not about doing everything perfectly. It is about doing the right things consistently. Even 5 to 10 minutes done daily can reshape your thinking over time. A chaotic morning creates a chaotic day. A mindful morning creates a meaningful life. Train your mornings, and slowly, very slowly, you will notice something powerful. You will react less, focus more, and live with greater balance. Because when the mind is trained, the day is guided. And when the day is guided, life improves one morning at a time. The power of intentional mornings lies in the understanding that the human mind is most impressionable at the beginning of the day. When a person wakes up, the mind is transitioning from rest into awareness. And in this delicate phase, it absorbs thoughts, emotions, and attitudes very easily. If this moment is filled with chaos, haste, or negativity, the mind accepts that state as the default mode for the rest of the day. On the other hand, when the morning begins with intention, calmness, and clarity, the mind is gently guided into stability and focus. This is not philosophy alone. It is a practical reality observed in human behavior and mental conditioning. Intentional mornings are not about waking up earlier just for the sake of productivity. They're about waking up with awareness. Many people wake up physically, but their minds remain scattered. They immediately reach for their phones, exposing themselves to messages, social media, news, or comparisons. Without realizing it, they hand over control of their mental state to external influences. An intentional morning reverses this process. Instead of reacting to the world, the individual chooses how to enter the day. This choice is powerful because it restores ownership of one's thoughts and emotions. The mind naturally seeks direction. If no direction is provided, it drifts toward worry, fear, or unnecessary planning. Intentional mornings provide that direction. When a person consciously decides how to start the day, whether through quiet reflection, planning, or mindful breathing, the mind receives a clear signal. It understands that there is order, purpose, and structure. This reduces mental noise and creates a sense of internal control. Over time, the mind learns to associate mornings with clarity rather than confusion. Another important aspect of intentional mornings is emotional regulation. Many emotional reactions throughout the day are not caused by the events themselves, but by an already unsettled mental state. A rushed or anxious morning raises stress levels before any real challenge appears. This makes the individual more reactive, impatient, and easily overwhelmed. Intentional mornings slow down this emotional acceleration. By starting the day calmly, the nervous system remains balanced, allowing a person to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. This is especially important in environments that demand constant decision-making and interaction. Intentional mornings also influence self-discipline. Discipline is often misunderstood as force or strict control, but in reality, it begins with small conscious decisions. Choosing to wake up with purpose, to delay distractions, and to focus on what truly matters strengthens self-control. These small victories in the morning build confidence in one's ability to manage time and behavior. As this discipline accumulates, it spills into other areas of life, such as work, relationships, and personal growth. Consistency is what transforms intentional mornings into a powerful habit. A single good morning may feel refreshing, but repeated intentional mornings rewire thinking patterns. The brain adapts to routines, and when a calm, focused start becomes familiar, the mind begins to crave it. This reduces dependence on external motivation. Instead of forcing productivity, the individual naturally flows into it. The mind becomes trained to expect clarity and purpose at the start of each day. Intentional mornings also help align daily actions with long-term values. Without intention, days become reactive and scattered, often filled with activities that do not serve meaningful goals. When mornings are intentional, there is space to reflect on priorities. This reflection does not need to be long or complex. Even a few moments of conscious thought help the mind distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. This alignment prevents burnout and creates a sense of fulfillment. Even on busy days, intentional mornings cultivate self-awareness. In the quiet of the early day, a person is more likely to notice internal states, fatigue, stress, gratitude, or motivation. This awareness is essential for mental training. One cannot train what one does not observe. By regularly checking in with the mind each morning, an individual learns to recognize patterns, correct negative tendencies, and strengthen positive ones. Over time, this awareness becomes second nature, leading to better emotional intelligence and mental resilience throughout the day. In essence, intentional mornings are not about perfection or rigid routines. They are about conscious beginnings. When the start of the day is guided with care, the mind learns stability, the emotions find balance, and the rest of the day follows a more purposeful path. Training the mind through consistent habits is based on the simple truth, that the human mind is shaped more by repetition than by inspiration. Many people wait to feel motivated before they act, but motivation is unstable and unreliable. Habits, however, operate even when motivation is low. When a behavior is repeated daily, the mind begins to accept it as normal, and over time it requires less effort. This is why true mental training does not rely on intense bursts of effort, but on small actions performed consistently, especially during the early hours of the day. The mind resists sudden change but adapts well to gradual structure. When habits are introduced gently and maintained regularly, the mind stops perceiving them as a burden. For example, spending a few minutes every morning in focused reflection may feel difficult at first, but when repeated daily, it becomes a natural part of waking up. The mind learns that this is how the day begins. This reduces internal resistance and creates mental stability. Consistency sends a clear message to the brain that order exists, and where there is order, there is calm. Consistent habits also strengthen focus. In a world filled with constant distractions, the ability to concentrate is slowly eroding. The mind jumps from one thought to another without depth. When a person commits to simple, repeated mental practices, such as planning the day, mindful breathing, or structured thinking, the brain is trained to stay present. Over time, attention span improves because the mind is no longer accustomed to constant stimulation. This kind of focus is not forced, it is developed through repetition. Another critical role of consistent habits is emotional discipline. Emotions are powerful, but without training, they often dictate behavior. When habits are practiced regularly, they act as anchors during emotional turbulence. A person who has trained their mind to pause, reflect, or breathe before reacting is less likely to make impulsive decisions. This emotional restraint is not achieved overnight. It is the result of repeatedly choosing calm responses over reactive ones, especially in moments of discomfort. Consistency also builds resilience. Life is unpredictable and challenges are unavoidable. A mind that lacks routine becomes easily shaken by stress and uncertainty. When daily habits are in place, they provide structure even when external circumstances are unstable. This structure reassures the mind, reminding it that not everything is out of control. Simple habits like morning planning or mental review help maintain balance during difficult periods, preventing emotional collapse. One of the most overlooked benefits of consistent habits is identity formation. The mind begins to associate repeated actions with self-image. When someone consistently engages in positive mental habits, they no longer see themselves as someone who tries to be disciplined, but as someone who is disciplined. This shift in identity is powerful. Behavior becomes aligned with self-perception, making positive actions easier and more natural. The mind protects what it believes it is. Consistency also reduces decision fatigue. When habits are established, fewer mental resources are wasted on deciding what to do. The mind conserves energy because routines eliminate unnecessary choices. This preserved mental energy can then be used for creativity, problem solving, and meaningful interactions. In contrast, inconsistent routines force the mind to constantly renegotiate behavior, which leads to exhaustion and frustration. Small, consistent habits also prevent overwhelm. Many people fail in mental training because they attempt drastic changes all at once. The mind perceives this as a threat and pushes back. Gradual consistency avoids this resistance. Even a few minutes of daily practice compounds over time. The brain responds to frequency more than intensity. This principle allows mental growth without stress or burnout. Consistent habits create trust between the individual and their own mind. When a person repeatedly follows through on small commitments, the mind learns reliability. This internal trust strengthens self-confidence and reduces self-doubt. The individual no longer feels mentally scattered or unreliable. Instead, there is a quiet assurance that progress is being made, even if it is not immediately visible. Through consistency, the mind is not forced into discipline. It is gently guided into it. Repetition transforms effort into ease, and habits become the silent architects of mental strength and clarity. Inner peace before outer productivity is a principle that challenges the modern belief that constant activity leads to success. Many people begin their day chasing tasks, deadlines, and achievements without first settling their inner state. When the mind is unsettled, productivity becomes forced and fragile. Even if tasks are completed, they are often accompanied by stress, irritability, and exhaustion. True effectiveness comes from a calm and centered mind. When inner peace is established first, productivity flows naturally and sustainably. An unsettled mind is easily distracted. It jumps between thoughts, worries, and expectations, making even simple tasks feel heavy. This mental noise consumes energy before any real work begins. When inner peace is prioritized in the morning, the mind enters the day with clarity. Calmness acts as a filter, allowing the mind to focus on what truly matters while ignoring unnecessary distractions. This does not slow productivity, it sharpens it. Stress is often mistaken for motivation. Many believe that pressure is necessary to perform well. While short bursts of stress may create urgency, prolonged stress damages concentration, memory, and decision-making. Beginning the day in a rushed or anxious state triggers the body's stress response, flooding the system with tension. Inner peace counters this by calming the nervous system. A peaceful inner state keeps the mind alert without being overwhelmed, enabling better judgment and thoughtful action. Inner peace also strengthens patience. Productivity without patience leads to frustration, especially when outcomes do not meet expectations. A calm mind understands that not everything unfolds instantly. This patience reduces anger, impulsive reactions, and burnout. When patience is present, setbacks are seen as part of the process rather than as failures. This mindset allows individuals to continue working steadily instead of quitting or becoming emotionally drained. Persistence. Another important aspect is emotional clarity. Without inner peace, emotions dominate decision making. Anxiety pushes people to rush, fear causes avoidance, and anger leads to poor choices. When inner peace is cultivated, emotions are observed rather than obeyed. This awareness allows a person to act wisely rather than emotionally. Productivity guided by emotional clarity is more accurate, efficient, and aligned with long-term goals. Inner peace also improves relationships, which directly affect productivity. Many daily tasks involve interaction with others. A restless or irritated mind creates tension, misunderstandings, and conflict. When a person begins the day with calmness, communication becomes respectful and clear. This reduces unnecessary friction and saves time and energy. Peaceful interactions create supportive environments where collaboration and efficiency thrive. There is also a deep connection between inner peace and self-worth. When productivity is prioritized without inner calm, people often tie their value to their output. This creates constant pressure to perform and fear of failure. Inner peace separates self-worth from productivity. A person who is calm internally works from confidence rather than insecurity. This leads to healthier ambition and more balanced effort. Mental endurance is another benefit of placing inner peace first. Productivity demands sustained focus and energy. A stressed mind exhausts itself quickly, while a calm mind conserves energy. Inner peace acts as a stabilizer, preventing mental burnout. This allows individuals to remain productive over longer periods without sacrificing well-being. Inner peace also enhances creativity. A noisy mind struggles to think creatively because it is focused on survival and control. Calmness creates mental space for new ideas, problem-solving, and innovation. When the mind is at ease, it explores possibilities rather than reacting to pressure. This makes productivity not only efficient, but also meaningful. Placing inner peace before outer productivity is not about slowing down life or avoiding responsibility. It is about creating the right internal conditions for effective action. When the mind is calm, actions are intentional, decisions are wise, and effort is balanced. Productivity that arises from inner peace is not forced, rushed, or draining. It is steady, purposeful, and sustainable. Alignment of thought, purpose, and action is essential for a stable and trained mind. When these three elements are disconnected, life feels fragmented and exhausting. A person may think one way, desire another, and act in a completely different direction. This inner conflict drains mental energy and creates confusion. Mental training in the morning aims to bring these elements into harmony so that the mind, heart, and behavior move together rather than pulling against each other. Thoughts are the starting point of all actions. If thoughts are unclear or negative, actions become inconsistent and unproductive. Many people begin their day with uncontrolled thinking, worrying about the future, regretting the past, or comparing themselves to others. These thoughts shape emotional states and influence behavior without conscious permission. Aligning thought with purpose requires awareness. When a person consciously observes their thinking patterns in the morning, they can redirect the mind toward what truly matters instead of allowing it to wander aimlessly. Purpose gives direction to thought. Without purpose, even positive thoughts lack focus. Purpose does not have to be grand or complicated. It can be as simple as striving to act with integrity, patience, or responsibility. Piracy. When purpose is clear, the mind filters thoughts more effectively. Irrelevant worries lose their power, and meaningful ideas gain strength. This clarity reduces mental clutter and helps the individual prioritize actions that serve long-term values rather than short-term impulses. Action is the visible expression of thought and purpose. When actions do not reflect inner beliefs, dissatisfaction arises. A person may know what is right but fail to act accordingly, leading to guilt and self-doubt. Aligning action with thought and purpose builds inner consistency. This consistency strengthens self-respect because behavior reflects intention. The mind becomes calmer when there is no internal contradiction between what one believes and what one does. Promoting mind training plays a critical role in creating this alignment. The early hours provide a quiet space to reflect on intentions before external demands interfere. When a person intentionally sets their purpose at the start of the day, thoughts naturally align around it. Actions then follow more smoothly because the mind already has a framework for decision making. This reduces hesitation and regret throughout the day. Alignment also improves decision making. When thoughts, purpose, and actions are synchronized, choices become simpler. Instead of overthinking every situation, the individual evaluates options based on alignment with their values. This reduces mental strain, and a person who knows their purpose does not struggle as much with indecision because they have an internal compass guiding their actions. And another benefit of alignment is emotional stability. Inner conflict often manifests as anxiety or restlessness. When actions contradict beliefs, the mind experiences tension. Aligning thought, purpose, and action removes this tension. The individual feels more settled because they are living in accordance with their values. This emotional balance supports mental resilience and reduces stress. Consistency in alignment builds trust within oneself. When a person repeatedly acts in harmony with their intentions, the mind learns reliability. This self-trust increases confidence and reduces self-criticism. The individual no longer feels fragmented or unreliable. Instead, there is a sense of wholeness and direction that strengthens mental discipline. Alignment also influences long-term growth. Progress is not only about achieving goals, but about becoming a coherent individual. When daily actions reflect purposeful thinking, growth becomes sustainable. The individual does not feel torn between who they are and who they want to be. Each day becomes a step toward personal integrity rather than a struggle against internal resistance. Misalignment, on the other hand, leads to exhaustion. Acting against one's values requires constant mental justification. This drains energy and creates dissatisfaction. Alignment removes the need for self-deception. The mind is at ease because behavior matches belief. This ease allows energy to be directed toward meaningful effort instead of internal conflict. Training the mind to align thought, purpose, and action is a gradual process. It requires daily awareness and honest reflection. Over time, this alignment becomes natural. The individual no longer needs to force discipline because actions flow from clarity. When the inner world is organized, the outer life follows with balance, direction, and lasting peace.